Hi guys, welcome back to session 3 of our 6 weeks Pilates program. Today we're going to be focusing on the lower body, so we're going to be working through the quads, the glutes and the hamstrings. So if we can take our places onto our mat, we're just going to warm up a little bit to start with. Just going to work through some roll downs to loosen up through the back and stretch out through those hamstrings. So if we just bring that chin to the chest, round the shoulders in, nice and slowly reaching down, feeling each part of the spine, peeling down towards the floor. Reach your hands as far as you can, relax that upper body, just feel that stretch through the back of the legs and through that lower back. Just hold it in that position. Let the head and the shoulders hang nice and heavy. And then as we roll it up, keep that chin into the chest. Nice and slowly roll it up so the head should be the last thing to come back up at the top. And just pull those shoulders back as you get to the top. And then we'll go again. Each time just trying to reach our hands a little bit further just to increase that stretch through the back of the legs. Holding it there. And then keep the chin tucked into the chest, slowly roll it back up to the top and bring those shoulders back at the top of the movement. So next one, as we do this one, we're going to bring it all the way down into that all fours position. So bringing that chin to the chest, round the shoulders, nice and slowly reaching down towards the floor. If you need to bend your knees to get your hands to the floor, then you can, and just walk it out into that all fours position. So from here we're just going to sit back onto the heels into child's pose, and then as we come forward we're going to come down into cobra. So you're bringing those hips right down to the floor, bringing the head up towards the ceiling to feel that stretch through the core and mobilizing through the spine. So again, we sit back into child's pose and then bring it right down into cobra. If you're uncomfortable with this position, then you can always stick to the rocking, just back onto the heels and back into that all fours position. So if you're not comfortable coming down into that cobra, then just bring it back into the all fours position. And again, sit back and then straight into cobra. We're going to go for this one more time. And straight into cobra. And from there, for you now, just bring it in to that all fours position. So making sure elbows and wrists in line with the shoulder, knees in line with the hips. You've got that core engaged so that the back's not arching through or rounding, keeping it nice and flat. We're going to work through the hips to begin with. So we're stretching out through our hip flexors and working the glutes at the same time. So the hands are going to stay where they are, and then all you're going to do is lengthen one leg away and back into the middle. I'll scoot forward a little bit more so I've got the space. So we're bringing one leg away, lengthen that leg back into the middle, and then the same on the other side. So with this exercise, as you extend that leg, just make sure that hip isn't twisting up. So you really want to keep those hips fixed down towards the floor and really lengthen through the legs. So we don't want any rocking as you go. So really switch that core on, extend, squeeze the glute at the top of the movement, back into the middle, and the same on the other side. And again, keep that core engaged. Inhale as you bring the leg in, and exhale as you bring the leg out. Really squeeze through that glute as you lift the leg up. Keep it going. The more you squeeze that glute through this, the more you're going to feel it through there. So just imagine someone's pulling on your ankle So you're really lengthening through that leg. Keep it going. I'm going to go for one more on each side. And last one. And relax it there, good. Just sit back onto the heels just to take any pressure off the wrists and the shoulders from holding in that position. And then when you're ready, bring it back into that all fours position. This time we're going to do a leg crossover. So it's exactly the same. We're going to bring that leg out, but then we're going to cross it over and down, across the other leg, back up, and then in to the middle again. So we're just going to work on that one side first. So if we start on the left side, we're going to do 10 on the left side, and then we'll do 10 on that right side. So extend out and up, cross over and down, back up and into the middle again, and again, out, cross over the other leg down, up and back down again. So really squeeze through that glute as you lift up. So the glute is a muscle that's going to do the work through this exercise. Again, just making sure you've really got that core switched on. So you don't want that hip to twist up as you go. Lost count a little bit, but let's go for 2 more. And last one. And then we'll switch over and do the same on the other side. So that right side, lift up, cross over, up and back down again. Up, cross over, up and down, and again. Keep that core engaged. Keep squeezing that glute. 4 more to go. And last one. Cross over, up and down again. Good. Okay, from there, if you now bring it down onto the front, you can bring the hands around in front of you just so you can relax that forehead down onto the hands. So take all that pressure off from the upper body. We're going to work through those glutes a little bit more, and we're going to stretch through the hip at the same time. So similar to the first exercise in the sense that we really want to focus on that pelvic control. So with all these exercises, we want to keep that pelvis nice and solid, so we don't want any twisting or rocking through the pelvis. So we're going to work for 1 minute on each leg. So I'll show you to start with. So if we just start on just the left side, squeezing that left glute, lifting that leg up nice and straight and back down again. So you want to really lengthen through the leg. Again, imagine someone's pulling your ankle and they're pulling your leg away from you. So make sure you don't twist and lift that hip up off the floor. So let's go for 1 minute. Off we go. Lift up and down. Really squeeze through that glute. If you feel it pinching through your lower back at all with this exercise, just don't force the leg up as high, just to take the pressure off from the lower back and really focus on that squeeze of the glute. Just make sure you're not forcing down on the resting leg as well. So try and take the pressure off the resting leg, even though you're going to need it for a bit of support as you lift the left leg up, but try not to force down on it as you lift the leg up. You'll feel it working through your glutes and your hamstrings, and you'll get a nice lengthen through that hip at the same time. We've got 5 seconds to go. Last one, and relax there. Good. Let's change over, same on the right side now. So squeezing that right glute, lift up and back down again. Controlling that pelvis, making sure that pelvis isn't lifting up as you bring that leg up. Really working through that glute. Squeeze as much as you can, really keep all the tension through that leg the whole time. Keep it going. Over halfway. Ten seconds to go. Last one, and relax it there. Good. Okay, with that exercise, if you do want to make it a little bit challenging, what you can do is just pop a resistance band around the ankle. So if you want to try it again another time and you want to make it a bit more challenging, tie a resistance band around the ankles, or if you've got one that's already looped, just pop that around that area. Okay, so staying where we are, we're going to adjust the exercise slightly. I'm just going to set a 30-second timer for the next one. So if we can go back to that left leg, we're going to bend the left knee. Again, we're squeezing through that glute. All we're going to do is just pulse that knee up and down onto the mat. So you're pushing the foot towards the ceiling, pulsing that knee up and down, keeping the hip down on the floor. So we're going to go for a 30-second pulse in 3, 2, 1, off you go. So pulse, squeeze that glute as much as you can, push that foot up towards the ceiling. Nice small movement, so that leg is not coming too high off the floor, keep it nice and small. You can feel that working in the hamstrings as well now. 10 seconds left. Keep it going. 2, 1, and relax it there. Switch over, same on the right side. So bending that right knee in 3, 2, 1, off you go. So bouncing that knee up and down onto the mat. Small pulses. Keep squeezing through that glute, kick that foot up towards the ceiling. Nearly there, you've got 7 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and relax it there, good. Just to release that off a bit, just gently bend the knee in towards the glute and back again. So keep the knees down on the floor, just bending the knees, just to loosen off the legs a little bit there. One more on each side. Last one. And relax there, good. Okay, bring it onto the side now. We're going to work through my favourite exercise, which is the clam. So the clam is going to really fire up those glutes for you. So you can choose to do this with or without a band. If you want to do it with a band, then all you need to do is just tie the band, or if you've got a band that's already looped, pop it above the knees, tighten a knot if you've got a long band, and then bringing it onto the side, you want to bring your bottom arm out nice and straight, so you can just relax your head onto the arm, bending at the knees, so you almost want your heels in line with your glutes, so you don't want the legs too long, or you don't want the knees up too high, so you want to make sure the heels are in line with your glutes. With this exercise, again, that focus is on those hips, so make sure we're not rocking forwards or backwards. So you want to slightly tilt that pelvis forward, keeping your heels together to start with,
you're going to lift the top knee away from the bottom knee and back down again. So we lift up, squeeze the glute up the top and down, keeping those heels together. Making sure as you lift, you're not rocking backwards. So really try and keep that shift of the hips forwards as you lift. Squeeze the glutes, keep that core engaged at the same time to control that pelvis. We're going to go for 3 more. 2 more. And last one. And relax there. Good. And for the next one, now if you bring that top leg away from the bottom leg, you're going to rotate your knee to the knee and back into the middle again. So keep that tension in the bands, knee to knee. You want to keep that ankle up in position, so don't let the ankle drop as you pull up against that band. Good. Keep squeezing that core. If you need to use your other hand for a bit of support, then you can just place it in front of you. Just make sure you're not leaning onto that arm, leaning your body weight forward, just fingertips to support. And last one. Good. And now keep that leg in position, so keep that distance between the knees. Keep pulling that leg up against the band if you're using a band. Now we're going to go the opposite, toe to toe and back up again, keeping that knee up in position, toe to toe. Keep it nice and slow and controlled. Keep that core engaged. Really keep pushing up against that band. 3 more to go. And last one. And relax that leg down. Good. Just give that glute a little rub just to release that off. You should feel it burning through there. And now you can keep the band on if you've got one for the next one. And we're going to extend that top leg out nice and straight. So just make sure we've got a slight forward lean so we're not rocking backwards through this exercise. Bringing the toes towards your shins, so you're flexing that foot to activate through the quads, and then from there lifting that leg up just in line with the hip. So we're not bringing it all the way up here, just in line with the hip. We kick forwards against the bands, backwards, pull against that band, into the middle and down again. So we come up, forwards, backwards, back to the middle and down again. And again, just up to hip height. Kick forwards, kick backwards, squeeze the glute as you kick back and down again. Keep squeezing the quad and the glutes. Three more to go. Keep that core engaged. And last one. And relax there. Good. If you have a band, then just take that band off from the legs, keep it tied up in a knot because we will need to work the other side later on in the session. And then if you just bring it onto the back, just hug that knee into the chest. So the leg that you've just worked, just hug that knee into the chest just to release that pressure off from the glute. Just hold it in that position. And then relax that leg back down again. Okay, so for the next exercise, we're going to work through a shoulder bridge. So with the shoulder bridge, you want to try and bring the heels as close as you can towards your glutes. Relaxing the hands by the sides. The first movement of the shoulder bridge is through that pelvis. So you want to tilt that pelvis backwards so that you're flattening that back onto the floor. So you tilt that pelvis to flatten the lower back onto the floor, driving your weight through your heels. You're going to peel the spine away from the floor, driving those hips up towards the ceiling. So imagine your hips have got headlights on them. You want to keep those headlights straight up towards the ceiling, so no twisting through the hips, and then slowly lower back down again. Just make sure that you've also got your knees in line with your hips, so you want to keep that distance. So as you roll it up, on the way back down, try not to let those knees cave in together, so keep that hip and knee distance. Drive up through your heels, squeeze the glutes and the core at the top of the movement, and slowly roll it back down again. So you're rolling through that spine as you go. Keep it nice and slow, really focus on that squeeze. We're going to go for 3 more. Two more. So you're working through your glutes, your core and your hamstrings through this exercise. And last one. And slowly roll it back down again. Okay, for the next part of the shoulder bridge, you can stick to keep rolling up and down if you're comfortable with that. But for the next one, as you peel up and roll, push those hips up towards the ceiling, you're going to lift one heel off the floor, back down, lift the other heel off the floor and back down again. So you're alternating heels, lifting one up, back down, and the same on the other side. So if you can go for 10 heel lifts in total. Apologies, my right ankle, you can probably hear it clicking again. So with this one, you're keeping those hips off the floor the whole time. So you want to do 10 heel lifts in total. So keep squeezing the glutes and the core. Keep those hips up towards the ceiling. Keep it nice and slow. Then once you've done your 10, slowly roll that spine back down to the floor again. Hug those knees into the chest just to release that off. And then again, we've got one more progression onto that. So you can stick with the ordinary bridge or the heel lifts, or if you want to take it in to this next exercise, then you can. So you're bringing the hips up off from the floor, and now this time you're driving your weight through one leg to extend the leg out straight, back down to the floor, and then the same on the other side. So you're extending that leg out straight, you're not bringing it all the way up here, just extend the leg out straight and back down again. So keep those hips up, keep the core and glutes engaged. If you feel the hips sinking, just give them a little push up to the top. So we're going to work through 10 in total of these as well, keeping those hips up. Keep that core engaged, squeeze those glutes, drive them through that heel. And then once you've done your 10, just slowly roll that spine back down to the floor and hug those knees into the chest. Just rock the knees gently in and out just to release that off. Okay, now if you slowly come up to the seated position, grab your bands again if you've got a band, turn it on to the other side now. So we're going to work that other leg now through that clown sequence. So with the band just above the knees, bringing it onto the side, bringing that bottom arm out nice and straight to relax the head on to the arm, making sure your heels are in line with the glutes, bending the knees, slight forward tilt of the pelvis so you're not rocking backwards into it. Keep the heels together, and we've got 10 on each again through this clown sequence. My favourite on this one. Keep squeezing that glute, core engaged as well. Make sure you're not rocking backwards as you go. Last one. And now you want to bring that top leg up, keeping that distance in between the knees, tilting knee to knee and back up again. Keep that core engaged, keep that ankle up so you're pulling up against the bands. Three more. And last one. And now keeping that knee up in position, we're going toe to toe now. So keep that knee up, toe to toe, and back up again. Keep pushing against that band. Good. Try and keep that knee up. Feel that burn. Two more. Last one. And relax it there. Good. Just give the glute a little rub just to release that off. And now you're going to extend the top leg out straight, bringing the toes towards the shin to activate that quad, lifting the leg up to hip height, kick forwards, kick back, back to the middle and down again. So keep squeezing through the quad and the glutes, keep that core switched on so that you're not rocking forwards and backwards. Kick forwards and back to the middle again. Three more to go. Two more. And last one. And back down again. Good. Okay, if you've got a band on, take that band off and then we'll roll it onto the back, hugging that knee or the leg you've just worked, hug it into the chest just to release that tension off the glute. Should feel that glute burning. It's a nice stretch, this one, after having worked through that sequence. Okay, so for the next one, if we extend those legs out straight, make sure I've got enough room. So keeping the legs nice and straight, you want to bring your toes towards your shins, activate those quads, keep that core engaged so that that back isn't arching off the floor. So you don't want to force the back flat onto the floor, but enough engagement, almost just enough to kind of tug your t-shirt through underneath there. So we're going to work alternate legs and I'm going to time it. We're going to go for 1.5 minutes with this one. So we're going to alternate the legs as we go. So bringing the toes towards the shins, squeeze the quads, you're going to lift the foot off the floor, not too high off the floor, and back down again, and then repeat the same on the other side. So I'm going to start the time, so keep it nice and slow and controlled. Really keep that core switched on to make sure that back isn't lifting off the floor. The more you squeeze through the quads on this one, the more you're going to feel it. So it's all about that squeeze in the quads. If you want to make it a bit more challenging, again, you can put that resistance band around your ankles just to add some more resistance into it. And squeeze. Good. Keep it nice and slow and controlled, making sure you're not rocking through those hips, so you want to keep it solid through the middle. 45 seconds left. Keep on squeezing. Make sure you don't switch that core off, keep it switched on. Keep flexing that foot, bringing the toes towards the shins. Keep it going. 8 seconds left. And relax it there. Good. Okay, and then from there, if you turn it now back onto the side, bringing it on to the knees. If you bring one foot forward, just to stretch through that hip and the quad a little bit to release that pressure off. So tilting the hips forward, so you don't want to lean right into it. Keep up nice and straight and just think about tilting that pelvis forwards, so you're feeling that stretch through the hip into the quad there. So just hold it in that position. And if you want to, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling to stretch through the whole body, looking up towards the ceiling. Good, and then bring the arms back down again. Switch over onto the other side, tilting that pelvis, so you're squeezing, almost squeezing the glute to push that pelvis forward to feel that stretch. And then again, you can bring the arms up towards the ceiling just to increase that stretch. And bring the arms back down again. Bringing the knee down, hands down to the floor, tucking those toes under, pushing down into that downward dog. So try and keep your back flat during this downward dog position. If you need to bend the knees to help to flatten through the back, then bend the knees if you've got some tightness through those hamstrings. And then from there, keep the chin into the chest, walk the hands in, nice and slowly, rolling it back up to the top, so that head's the last thing to come up at the top, and just roll those shoulders back at the top of the movement. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose, bring the shoulders up to the ears, and exhale, let them drop. And one more time. And relax it there. Well done, guys. Thank you for joining me for session 3, working through our lower bodies. So next week on session 4, we're going to be focusing all on the core. So we're going to have a lot of core work through that session. Okay, thank you.